Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Sandra, Sonia, and Angie back again for another episode of the Horror Flick Chicks podcast. What's up, ladies?
Yes. Hello.
And we are continuing with our recaps of the newest season of The Last of Us. We are in season two. This is season two, episode three of The Last of Us, entitled "The Path" with a ASL. The title of the episode. And we are all coming back from the terrible, horrible episode last week
Yeah.
where
Did
we
you have
Yeah.
to
lost,
mention it again?
He's still with us.
Yeah.
He's
always
still with
with
us
us.
And if you're joining us audio, we have Pedro in the
In
back.
our clutches.
in our background, in our
Yes.
minds, in our hearts.
Yes. R.I.P.
Forever,
Joel.
forever and always.
Spoilers.
They
R.I.P.
know.
Joel.
Everybody knows.
Yeah. Don't watch this if you don't want spoilers. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we are on the next episode after our loss, after the world's loss.
3 months
And
later.
Yes.
yes. And we started off with Ellie in the hospital, and she is recovering from all the events of episode two, and recovering and also coming to like kind of like the final realization that Joel's gone.
Yeah, she's having
Um,
like some like flashbacks, nightmares
yeah, it was
as
very
she's come out
sad.
yeah. And she's grieving. She's
She's
grieving.
grieving for sure, like we all are.
Yeah.
And they do show her coming back to their place, to their house, and they had a good, 5, 6 minute kind of montage of her going through his room and his clothes and kind of smelling him on his clothes and thinking about him and mourning him, and it's very sad.
I think they did a nice job of in the beginning. I mean, they did have to show Ellie kind of recovering and going
Yeah,
through all that grief and everything. But then they would then, we saw also Tommy, um, well, or Maria, I should say, cleaning up the body.
yeah,
And then Tommy coming in to kind of sit with his brother, and
yeah.
you know, it was a good episode where they kind of let us mourn with
Right. They
characters,
allowed
you know.
the characters to grieve, but also let us be in that moment too with them.
Yeah.
For
Mhm.
Mhm.
sure. For sure. Very sad. Um, but of course we know, even from the end of the last episode, that Ellie is sad and she is mourning, but she also wants revenge.
Yeah.
I don't care how you
Right.
slice it. She wants to kill these motherfuckers that killed Joel.
A hundred
All of
percent.
them. All of
All of
them.
them. Yes, every last one of them. So she does talk with Tommy, and it's not blatant, but she's like,
Yeah, she didn't, it wasn't like
Like,
a
I'm
detailed
ready. Why aren't
conversation, but it
you?
was pretty much
she was just like, what are we gonna do about this?
right.
Yeah.
We
And then
have
he
to,
has to even remind her, like, just remember that he's my brother, but we don't just go after people that
right. Well,
like
she was, because I think he was put, not I think, but he was pushing back on her a little bit, and she was very persistent and kind of like taking a little dig, like, you know,
is this not
we
important?
need to do this. Like, why don't you care about this or
Yeah,
something, like
why, yeah.
in that way? And he's like, listen, he's my brother. Like, I know, I feel the same way.
Right.
And,
But we go ahead.
I also feel like, he has a family to protect.
Well,
He has
right,
he has
a
a
community
town
now
to
to like
protect
is in charge of. Yes,
also.
and they just
And then
had the
also remember that this is while this world is like all messed up and there's no like government governess, there is
Yeah,
still governess.
Yeah.
So, like he suggested, like you just bring it up in the council meeting.
Right.
right.
Just like any other sort of like act,
Any other major issue that
any
they
yeah,
have.
any other issues in community, you have to bring it up in the community and people vote on
Right.
whether or not they will go into this sort of like search and
And
kill.
and on top of that, this is also happening, or she's wanting this to happen after this big attack that happened
Yeah.
in
And
the community
hmm
where the cordyceps breached the community and killed a bunch of people and caused so much damage, and they have to repair the wall, they have to repair the
yeah.
town, they have
And
to.
they're all also grieving because as we saw in the
Mhm.
council meeting, someone stood up and said, my sister was had died, 2
Right.
weeks ago. So
They showed
Yeah,
all those bodies
well,
out in the,
yeah,
you know,
it was covering the whole town pretty
they have
much.
a grave. The grave is 10 miles away from where they are now.
yeah,
And, so yeah, so folks are like, we want this just as much as you do. We love Joel, but
yeah.
also
Right.
there were others that died, and we don't have the strength that we once had.
Right. Because they have to send a good amount of people to go out on this mission that Ellie wants to do
Right.
to take revenge or justice, on these people. And they're like, we can't afford these are like our strongest people. We can't afford
To
to let
lose
them
them.
all go and
Mhm.
lose potentially more than half of them.
Yeah.
It's gonna make us weak and vulnerable
Yeah.
here when they come back. So if they come back.
Right.
So it's a lot for everybody to think about. So
And
Tommy told Ellie that basically she has to do it the right way. She has to bring it to the council and to Maria. And the town has to take a vote to see what they're gonna do about this. And I knew from the beginning that no matter what happened and no matter what the council said, if they voted no on it, I knew she was
she
still
was
gonna
gonna,
go
Yeah,
and do
she's
it.
still
yeah,
gonna. Yeah.
There's no like, it was no
stopping her.
surprise
Yeah. Yeah.
in that. She so we should mention too that after, like, when Ellie is like grieving over Joel in the house and everything, Dina comes to the house
hmm
and coming to check on her and everything, but she also gives us some important information about these people that killed Joel, that she knows them and she knows their names.
I mean, she was really the only other witness. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
besides Ellie, and Ellie came after he had already been
Yeah.
beat.
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, so
She
Dina.
knew them. She knew them already because she knew all their names and everything.
Mhm.
And so she gives her kind of some intel on these people. Ellie's mad at the beginning because she's like, "Why didn't you tell me this in the hospital? They got like they have such a like head start now, like to get away,
hmm
and it'll be harder to track them and whatever." But um, her thought was, no, it's like I know their names, I know who they are, and I kind of know where they might be going. So I thought it would be better let them get there, and we'll get them over there.
And also, she was in a goddamn hospital bed. Dina's like, you would have gotten
Right,
up and
That's what
not
she said.
recovered.
She said the
Right.
doctor
right.
told her not to, um, agitate her or stress
Oh,
her
right.
or anything. So she kept it to herself.
But also I feel that besides that, she knows how Ellie is, and she knows if she said anything to
Yeah,
her,
she
she would
would
have
get
been
up
like, so
and
she was
she
uh
said she actually said that too. She said, I knew that you would just rip out the tubes and
the
everything under
tubes,
and
right.
just go. So it's true.
And yes, and we all know that too, that she would totally
Mhm.
done that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I gotta say, I thought Dina, Dina got drugged when
yes,
she was captured. They drugged her to knock her out and stuff. But she remembered the picture. She drew the picture of the wolf
yeah.
for Ellie. She remembered how it looked. I
She
probably
remembered a lot of
would.
stuff.
I probably would have remembered that all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially it was traumatizing too,
No, I know. I
And
know.
so
But
being.
they are in a survival state. So that that's something that they would think about. Like when people are saying their names, they catch on. Like I would probably wouldn't have caught on to what this person's name was and this and this.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're in this state where they have to survive and they have
You
to
have to remember everything.
remember things and know people and where they are and who is there and what's over there. And so that's part of it, I think, why she
Yeah,
was able
probably.
to remember the names, the few names that she did, and the picture and the
So,
symbol from the bag. So yeah.
So ultimately, well, if we go back to the council meeting,
yeah,
right?
Hmm.
So some folks stood up and said, we love Joel, but like, this and that, like we
we
mentioned.
have to protect, we have to make sure
We
we're
have
safe
yeah,
and
Yeah, and then, Maria is the head counsel and she goes to, Ellie even does her own spiel and shares some of her written down, notes,
yeah,
which was also like very touching, I think.
it was
Um,
very put together for Ellie because I feel like
she's a
Ellie.
mess. She'll just
she's
curse you
she's
out.
all
No,
over the
that's what I'm
place.
saying.
Yeah,
She's very kind of off the cuff. Like she'll just like, we need to fucking do this because they
Yeah,
killed Joel
exactly.
and fuck
Right.
them and they gotta die. And that's it.
yeah,
Like she will come off hard like that and say that, but the fact that she came with something written and still written very well, but still was able to get like Ellie's heart and point across.
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought she did very well with that.
She did. Unfortunately, as we found out, the council voted and they voted almost, it seemed like very almost
I think it
unanimous.
was 8-3.
Yeah, it was
They voted no,
overwhelming,
yeah.
that they did not want to follow. So now Ellie has no choice.
But and again, once we find that out, you totally see in Ellie's face, like, all right, that's fine, but I'm still going to fuck them
It
up.
was like, okay,
No matter.
I'm just
yeah,
doing this because my uncle told me.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
My uncle told me I had to talk to you.
yeah. I
I
mean,
was gonna go by
the
myself
look
anyway.
on her
Yeah,
face was just like, okay,
Yeah, that's true.
whatever. Anyway, so she decides, right, that she's gonna take off and
hmm
do this herself. We then see a little bit later, that Dina kind of tries to support her as much as possible.
hmm
Yeah.
And she
But she
comes
loved
to
Joel
her
too. Joel
Yeah,
took care of her
as
too.
she
So
told her that, I love Joel too. And she shares some of her tactics for going to Seattle
yeah,
to
like a
get
plan, yeah.
get these people. So she shares what she thinks should be sort of like the go-to, take one horse, and
It's a good strategy.
yeah, yeah. And she seems like level-headed,
Yeah.
she's
yeah,
so she decides to go with her and help her
And
out.
she also tells her that because she was asking her about the horse and a bunch of stuff. She's like, I have somebody. She basically said, I have somebody that's gonna help us. And she's like, who did you tell? But she's like, she mentioned somebody. She's like, no, they're not gonna do it. But don't worry, just meet us at this part of the wall at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And she goes, and the person that's there is this guy Seth. Now Seth is the one that broke up the kiss when her and Dina were kissing at the New Year's Eve party. They were like
yeah,
drinking and smoking and stuff. And there was like, a lot
yeah,
going on and Seth was like drunk and he was calling them names and things like that. So
Yeah.
she already had like a thing with him. Like actually at the council meeting, he stood up
yeah.
and was basically supporting
Supporting
her.
him.
Didn't mention her like by name, but it's like a bunch of people were saying that, we can't let our people go and take revenge on these people because we might lose them and we need them here to help us. And somebody else was saying that we need to kind of give them mercy and forgive them. and blah, blah, blah. And Seth basically stood up and was like, fuck that. We
Yeah.
gotta get revenge because if they come back here, they took one of ours and they come back here and we don't like fight for our people, they're gonna come here and laugh at us and like take us
And
out.
then they can do what they want. They
Yeah,
think they can do whatever they
we
want.
can't let them see us like that. We have to show them that they can't mess with us and they can't come back here.
Yeah.
So that was basically his speech, and I saw Ellie was looking at him, not smiling or anything, but you could tell she was just like she knew that he was
Yeah,
like she
he
knew
was
that he
in.
was
That he got
thinking
it. He gets
He's
it.
he gets
committed.
it
He's
right.
committed. Yeah.
So when they do meet up at the wall, her and Dina to like start on their quest and their mission to Seattle, the person that she had that said that he was gonna help is Seth. And he comes, gives her a gun, whatever, and basically like without many words was kind of just like
Yeah.
that's what he basically did.
Go
He was
get
like a nod,
them.
like go kick
Yeah.
some ass
Yeah.
and like I got your back or whatever.
Yeah.
So her and Dina go out, they're out for a while and they. So at a certain point in the episode, we see a group of. It seems like it's like a religious group.
Yeah.
Seraphites. They're seraphites.
Seraphi, okay, and they are, you know,
They're kind of like a cult.
yeah,
They had
Yeah.
some
And
prophet um
yeah.
that they've, followed. They all have, right? I think you were about to say that. They all
they
have
both
these.
have they all have like these slits on their face, like yeah,
Hmm.
but they we see them for a good like 5 minutes throughout the whole thing. They seem like they're traveling somewhere.
Yeah.
And they have these signs or whistles and stuff they do with
Yeah. They
other
have a system with the
a
whistle.
system
Yeah.
like to see where there's trouble coming, whenever, and they detect it and whenever there's kids with them too. And then at a certain point, after a few minutes, some of the like the sense the
The-
whistles and stuff, they are like uh are alerting them that there's something bad happening or
Right.
something
Something's
hostile or
coming
whatever.
or
Yeah. So you see them kind of scrambling, whatever. So they show that a little bit in the middle of the episode for a few minutes, and then when Ellie and Dina are traveling, at a certain point they get to like this open space, like in this field or garden, not garden, like wooded
wooded
area.
area. Yeah.
And Dina goes a little bit a ways out, and she comes back and just starts throwing up, and she's like, "Oh, like what?" Ellie goes and she sees it's like a whole, almost like a little field of all those people, the
Yeah.
kids and everything dead.
Yeah.
Don't know what's, you see some blood and stuff, but
Oh,
we don't know
yeah.
what happened. We don't know who did it.
Yeah.
Um, and then after a while, you see one of those like I guess they're rogue fireflies or the wolf fireflies um in a kind of like a burnt out building, like a he looks like he's in like kind of like a watchtower.
Mhm.
And
Turns out to be the
yeah, he's like a lookout or something. He's talking to one of his people and stuff. They're
it's
asking
the Space
if
Needle.
if
That's
it's
in
okay.
Seattle.
Oh,
So
so
that's
Yeah.
the Space Needle. Yeah.
Oh, it's a
Which
space
which is
needle. It's
wild.
Seattle, right.
Yeah,
mm,
that's the Space
Right.
Needle.
So they're asking him if it's okay for them to like move up to a certain area and whatever. He's looking around. He's like, yeah, it's okay. And so this wolf clan or of fireflies, when they attacked and killed Joel, it was like five of them, 4 or 5 of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a lot bigger than
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of them.
they showed or we thought, because once we see this crowd like moving up into this territory with like they have like a big tank and a big, you know,
Mhm.
and it's a ton of people.
Yeah.
So Ellie and Dina are in for some like a good fight. If they don't have some, if they don't
Right.
like assess it in time to get more backup, because it's basically just the two of them,
I know.
and like there was at least 60 or 70 of those people.
I have a feeling more people will come out. like to help.
I think so too.
And I also have a feeling that we're gonna see a lot more kind of weirdness. Like this episode, we saw that those groups, that group of the cult
The religious people, yeah.
group. We're gonna see things like that more, especially while they're out there, you know,
Yeah.
searching for Abby and the group. So I think we're gonna see that because we're only in the
Do you
third
think they're gonna meet up
episode.
and be like, "Do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
Don't run from the Lord.
Don't run from the Lord! The Lord is with you wherever you go." I don't know why
So
you guys are laughing. This is the truth.
we're
Sorry.
yeah, because we're only in episode 3. So we're
Only on
in the
episode
beginning of
three,
the
yeah.
season. There's so much more that's gonna happen
There's so much that's happened already,
already. So
and
and
it's so
we're only
early.
at the beginning, right? This
So
was
you know
a
there's gonna be a
good,
lot of stuff going on still.
yeah, this was a good transition episode.
I thought so
The
too.
morning part, and then the figuring out kind of the plan of what to
Next steps,
do,
yeah.
and then starting to execute
The
that
jour- the
plan.
journey to execute,
Yeah. So
like
now
literally
I think
execute these people.
things are gonna start to pick up.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see more of like the hordes come out,
Yeah,
like kind of chase scenes and
did you see the preview for the next episode?
yes, yes. So we're gonna see, I think we're gonna see a lot more of those, like the
Yeah.
hordes and chasing and fighting
A lot of fighting, yeah.
episodes, fighting scenes and things like that. So
This
it's
was
gonna start to
definitely a
get,
setup episode. Um,
yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly.
so
So it was really good,
It
really
was
good
it was like
transition.
a
So
transition and a setup episode.
yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. One thing, one last thing I want to mention that I didn't notice this because usually when I watch this show, it's on a DVR, like recorded, and I fast forward through the opening credits because, I just want to get to the show.
Yeah,
And usually the credits are always the same, right? But
right.
apparently the credits in this episode. So in the beginning, they have that kind of scene, the scenery in the opening where they show like the backgrounds and they show some of the
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
lands and they show Joel and Ellie kind of not full facial, but kind of and not shadowy either, but in the distance, kind
I
of.
like the background, yeah.
Apparently, in the beginning of this episode, it was only Ellie. Like Joel
oh,
wasn't there.
Oh,
So now I have to go back and watch that.
oh my God.
oh, me too.
Why'd you say that? It's fucking sad.
That
And
is
I
sad.
did notice that they didn't have Pedro
Oh,
Pascal's name in the credits in
In
the
the
beginning.
credits?
In the
I
beginning,
didn't notice that
yeah,
I
either.
didn't.
I
I didn't
didn't, I did
notice.
notice that, but I didn't notice that the visual. But
Mm.
so I have to go back and look.
Oh, guys.
But again, he may be in flashbacks too. They may show him somehow.
They will.
Let's see.
I
In
think they will. Like
the
we said
flashback,
the
well,
last episode, it was 5 years ahead. Or the
yeah,
first episode was 5 years ahead.
yeah,
So we're gonna have to go back at a certain point to see certain things that happen, and I'm sure we're
yeah,
gonna see them again.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see.
We'll
It's
see.
getting good.
Well, you guys, thank you guys as always for checking us out here on the Horrific Chicks podcast. The Last of Us recaps The Last of Us season 2, episode 3. We'll be back next week to recap episode 4. As always, if you want to watch our episodes, follow us here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Horrific Chicks on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and like our videos so you can see all the stuff that we post. And we're also on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Horror Flick Chicks. So make sure you search for us. And if you're not following us yet, make sure you're following us on all those social media platforms. Our podcast is also streaming on a bunch of audio platforms. So all the popular ones that you listen to your podcast to, I'm sure you can find Horror Flick Chicks. So make sure you like and subscribe us on those too, so you can listen to us while you're driving on your way to work or on your way to the club or whatever you're doing.
The club
The
The
club.
club. Oh, that's weird. Anyway,
is funny.
Anyway, as always, thank you guys so much for following us and supporting us. We always love you guys. Always show you guys love, and we love that you always show us so much love. We'll see you guys next week. This is Sandra, Sonia, and Angie of the Heartflick Chicks signing out, and we'll see you next time. Peace, love, and horror.
Peace.
Bye.
Meow.
That's the end.